Well, I got to do the same. Do the same thing, so we're even.
I'm
Hey,
still
welcome to something to talk about.
Hey,
Good to see you.
good morning again.
Considering you've been on a worldwide tour here, you've probably been more places in the state of Texas in the last couple of days than I have in the last year.
You know, I've been moving kids here, there, and everywhere. I could move my kids with my eyes closed. I've done it so many times.
You should rent a truck and start a business.
Yeah, I could do that. I could certainly move kids into young adults into small spaces. That's my specialty.
Yeah. You could specialize in the Dallas to Waco run.
Mm-hmm. The Dallas to Waco run. Yeah. So we did that this weekend. So check that off our list. Yep. So she's all moved in, ready for sophomore year at Baylor.
Yeah, for you, running back and forth to Waco is probably like me going from Frisco to Plano.
I've done it a lot. I don't know how many times I've done it, but
look at what's on the screen.
Woozy Katoozy. That's a good one.
Woozy Katoozy Moving Services.
I finally know what I'm going to do when I grow up.
There you go.
Start my own company. Start my own company. But yeah, no, I've made that drive down 35 so many times, but I still don't like it. It's just so congested, a lot of trucks. I don't know what it is on 35, but so many trucks and a lot of construction. And
it's a major artery going south out of Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
there aren't an awful lot of alternates going south towards Waco and Austin and San Antonio and further south. So everybody's got to share the same road.
Yeah, everybody has to share the same road, and that's the problem. Is not everybody shares the road.
Yeah.
Especially those truckers. They think they own the road.
Right.
No offense to truckers. I'm just saying they're just big trucks and they just take up a lot of room.
And usually the road is very, very congested until you get to Buc-ee's.
Oh my God. What is it about Buc-ee's? We should do a show on Buc-ee's. And one of us should actually go down and to a Buc-ee's and do a
live broadcast from Buc-ee's.
I really and interview people because I don't get all the hype, but I mean, I don't know.
It's just like something you got to do. We have some friends that are moving north of Dallas up into Van Alstyne, and going north. There's a Buc-ee's going north on 75. Right. And when you're on 75, it says next exit Buc-ee's Boulevard.
Oh my God! Yeah,
they have their own exit to get to get to Buc-ee's going north.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's always packed, and I guess they do have a good selection of munchies and snacks and stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes I'd rather just it's so big and you have to navigate your way around, and it's I'd rather just go into a little convenience store and get out. I don't know. Yeah.
Our friend Brandon just typed in. He says sometimes he just goes to Buc-ee's just to use the bathroom.
Well, I know a lot, and they advertise that. I think
and they got multiples up there too.
Mm-hmm. We went one time with Matthew down to Houston, and we stopped there with a bunch of his friends. It was when they were younger, and we went in and we kind of became a part of the tizzy, and then we all came out of the store, and one of the boys was just standing there by the car waiting for me to unlock it, and he's like he goes, I feel like, he goes, did that just happen? He said, I feel like we've been in there for like a week. I don't know. It was like this feeling he got when he was in Buc-ee's. It was like this overload, this experience. It's just like, I don't know, but they have a great reputation. Everybody, and the kids loved it. When my kids were little, they used to love to get their T-shirts. You got Buc-ee's T-shirts and all the little paraphernalia and.
Right, and Brandon also mentioned, and I agree, for a place that is that big and that busy and handles that many people in a day, it is surprisingly clean.
Yes, it is.
Really, their staff really takes care of the place.
They do. They do. They do a good job. But seriously, it could be a show in and of itself. It's that big of an experience, that big of a place, that big of an experience.
That might be fun to do a live show at Buc-ee's, and just
Okay.
stopping people and say, what brings you to Buc-ee's today?
Yeah. Well, I've been on the road a lot, so you just put me out there on assignment.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we could do. You could just call in from Buc-ee's and all.
Right. Exactly.
Making another run down to Waco.
Yep, exactly. Well, there's a Buc-ee's along the way, and there's a Buc-ee's pretty much. I don't know. Is it just south? That's something else. That's a question for some of our listeners if they know. Or where I don't know. I know that there are Buc-ee's all over.
I don't
Texas.
know if Buc-ee's is regionalized or something. I mean, I don't ever remember seeing them up north in the Midwest.
I don't either. So maybe they're not up there yet.
Basically down in this area.
Mm-hmm. I think so. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing. I've been moving. I moved Ellie back to college, Baylor, whatever, and then the next we already moved Matthew and Jenna again, and then the next to move when and wherever it might be will be Emily, and I know what I'm doing now. Like I said, I can move these kids with my eyes closed. I've done it so many times.
You have to take out that list every morning and to see what am I going to be able to check off today.
Right, exactly. So anyway, how was your weekend, your week?
I don't even remember, but that's part of the aging process.
There you go, memory loss.
You can't remember. You can't remember stuff. See,
yeah.
I got my buddy Brandon, who we do a show on Tuesdays called Trash Talk. Brandon's my co-host on that show. He's sending comments in and all, and he's saying that they're in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
In addition to Texas. So they are basically a southern company.
Okay. Well, you got to have land to build these.
And they take up a good.
You're not going to find a Buc-ee's in New York City. There's no land. It'd be a high-rise Buc-ee.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Come into this 17-story Buc-ee's. Or gas on the first floor.
Exactly. So I guess it makes sense that here in Texas, where we have sprawling land, whatever, that we would have more Buc-ee's than, I guess Tennessee and wherever else. So anyway, yes, we were talking about aging and forgetting things. Sometimes I walk into a room and I forget why I walked into the room.
Absolutely. I mean, that happens to me, several times a week. And have you ever found out that it's something in our brain that when you get into the kitchen and you forgot why you went into the kitchen, you go back into the bedroom, and all of a sudden when you get back into the bedroom, now you remember what you were going to the kitchen for.
Yeah.
It's kind of a recall.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there, I think though, the whole memory thing, I've had this conversation with a lot of my friends, and I'm 55. And, my parents are in their 80s. And while they might experience, more frequent memory lapses, still, I experience them even at my age, just maybe not as frequently. Like you said, walking into a bedroom or, whatever, and I don't think that those are major memory kind of loss issues. Like someone once told me that a real sign of memory loss that's concerning is not where did I put my keys, but what are my keys for, kind of thing. So there's like a difference in what you're forgetting. So walking into a room.
So you find your keys and then you can't remember what you were going to use them for.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there, like some people say, well, gosh, I have memory loss all the time. I forget where my keys are. That's a little bit more common and not as serious as, like, for example, what I just said, like walking into a room, like you said, walking into the kitchen and you say, gosh, why did I walk in here? What was I going to get? Whereas a real serious concern would be, where am I? So there is a difference in memory loss, but certainly memory loss is something that with age just begins to happen. I know that you and I actually talked about this once before. It was relating to another topic, but it came up in our discussion, how there are a lot of good brain games on your cell phones these days, a lot of apps.
AARP has them.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
go to the AARP.com and all, and you can go into some of the brain teasers and things like that to keep the juices flowing.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, Sudoku and, crossword puzzles and hidden words and word finds, whatever. I do a lot of word games. I like words.
Me too.
And, whatever kind of like game that is fun for you. A lot of times it's just good, like you said, just exercising your mind and certainly staying busy as much as you can in the community and keeping up conversation with people and doing some writing and doing some reading. And I mean, there are certainly ways, and like you said, AARP and lots of probably other websites that you can Google on ways to continue to exercise your brain as you age. It's very important. You and I talked about this conversation of aging, and yeah, I happened to be driving one day, and on the radio was this woman. I believe she was a writer for New York Times. I'm not sure, but she was kind of doing this kind of article or whatever research on men and women, and not just men and women, but also celebrities and non-celebrities, and just kind of like how people are aging. Like, why is like we are all so obsessed with wanting to stay youthful when really that's kind of impossible unless you do certain things to defy the aging process. One being cosmetic surgery, obviously, which is not an option for everyone because it's extremely expensive. And so there's another variable kind of in who can afford to kind of delay the appearance of aging. I'm not talking memory, but like more the appearance, Botox for wrinkles and lifts and facial products and all sorts of things, and coloring your hair and, surgeries. And, there's a lot that you can do. And sometimes people do too much and they start to look odd and a little deformed even. So
very
I don't
much.
know, like, what are your thoughts on that? Would you, and again, even that is different between men and women. Obviously, more women do it. Generally speaking, men seem to age and become maybe more attractive, more distinguished. They don't seem to have to do that whole, kind of trying to stay
I
young.
think that's part of the justification is a woman will go to great lengths to try and make herself look younger through makeup, through coloring her hair, continuing to do that. When a man gets older and he starts getting wrinkles and gray hair and everything, it's deemed as being more distinguished looking.
Right.
But if a woman does it, she don't want to be distinguished. She wants to, continue to be beautiful. And can you fault people for that? No. But what you said earlier is sometimes they take it a little bit too far. And part of that is because of our fascination, I think, with actors and actresses and singers, professional people and entertainers. They want to continue to look as young as possible. We just finished watching. I don't know if you watched the series on Netflix. Frankie, Grace and Frankie.
I've seen a couple episodes.
It's
Yeah.
Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda.
Well, Jane Fonda is, I forgot how old she is now. I think she's in her 80s. But when you see her, she has had enough enhancements done on her face, that, I mean, she may be 80 something, but her skin looks like it's in the 50, she's 50 or so. Lily Tomlin, I noticed that she's had a little work done on the cheekbones, and sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes I think maybe it went awry a little bit. I keep thinking about the late Joan Rivers.
Oh, yeah.
Who had I think so much done on her face that when she smiled you couldn't tell because she couldn't really smile like that. Another one that I have seen is you ever seen pictures of Wayne Newton?
Yeah.
Remember Wayne Newton when he was a teenager or something, did Donkashane and all, and then he went out to Las Vegas, and he's been in Las Vegas when you see pictures of him, you just can't even figure out who it is.
Right. Yeah.
He's almost gone a little bit too far out. And excuse me, Wayne, because I still like Donka Shane. Still
Yeah.
a great song. But some people go a little bit too overboard with I just use a little bit of duct tape. Just
Well,
put a little duct tape at the temples and pull the eyes back a
they
little.
actually have I don't know what it's called, but they actually have I don't know, it's a product, it's a strip, actually. It's a strip and it goes over your eye and it gives you an instant eye lift. It looks like, I've never held one in my hand or used it, but it looks like you can actually put makeup over it, maybe, or maybe perhaps it's in the crease of your eye, where you can't see it anyway, but it gives you this instant eye lift. You were saying how women like to look, just would like to look distinguished too. It's just not accepted really in society. I mean, it's accepted by by some, but generally speaking, and to your point, when you open up a magazine or turn on the TV or, or look at your computer, because with all these influencers out there, and, I mean, I even have friends that are on Facebook and they'll share a story of themselves and they're totally filtered. I mean, their faces are, and you can tell when a picture has been filtered, and
Right.
or like a picture even on your phone, they'll put it on portrait or whatever. So you can see that's clear the eyes. So it's just there's so much out there that's not real, and we're trying to attain that look when really, we are going to just naturally age. I think that it's just, for men versus women, it's completely acceptable for a man to be gray, to have wrinkles. I don't know why, but it just is. And a lot of men do age and become even just more better looking. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of what we're used to seeing around us. But for women, we are the ones that kind of like feel the need to, some women, not all women. I know some women who go gray or go white, keep the wrinkles, and they look beautiful. I mean, there are even celebrities right now that are out there and really pushing for that kind of natural beauty and embracing, age, and not trying to forever be standing in that fountain of youth. I mean, we can't. I know these young women are beautiful, and they're young. They're 20, and they've got but and also, again, like I said, I mean, I have no problem with plastic surgery. I have no problem with eye lifts or, a little filler or Botox, or color your hair or straighten your teeth, whatever. If it makes you feel better about yourself and more confident, that's great. But I will say, one thing that I have considered along the way, sometimes you see people and they look, and I hate to say this out loud, but by society's standards, they look unkept. Maybe they look like they've not been tending to themselves when really they have. I'm sure that they're very clean and well kept and all that, but they don't. It takes money to buy some of these, well, certainly to do the surgeries that we're referring to, but also product and things that help some of these other women look the way they look at the age of 70 or 80.
Well, there's all kinds of creams and salves and things like that. The cosmetic industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you can put a little bit of something on, even if you're just going out for the evening, and apply something that'll last for 2 or 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
I always think about that. Sometimes it's needed medically. I know that as we get older and you start getting bags under the eyes, or sometimes a little bit of a growth over the eyes, sometimes you need a little bit of a surgical procedure, to help with the vision and to help. Some of that's necessary. There are some people that just do that, and then once they do it and they say, "Oh, that's nice," now they want to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
It becomes addictive. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
I mean, look at Michael Jackson. I don't think he was doing it to make himself look younger. I think he just wanted to maybe address just the look of his nose. And he is somebody, I think, who did exactly what you're saying. He got a taste of it, the cosmetic surgery or whatever, and then just wanted more and more and more until his nose was practically, I don't know, gone.
Well, now you can go online and you can go into websites, celebrities then and now, and
Oh
it'll
yeah.
show you what they looked like in their 20s or 30s and what they look like now in their 60s and 70s. And a lot of them, it is just complete opposite. And in other cases, they look pretty much the same, having had reasonable enhancements done. I mean, I kind of think of people like Goldie Hawn.
Oh
Goldie
yeah.
Hawn looks, in her 70s and all a lot like she did when she was in her 30s, with little touch-ups here and there. Dolly Parton will make no bones about it that they have they have nipped and tucked and
Hollywood and fame.
Sorry, my phone was
is somebody out there?
Sorry. I thought my phone
Was that Dolly Parton talking about her plastic surgeries?
No, I thought my phone was turned off, but it's on, and so I turned it off. Anyway, go ahead. But because you were bringing up a good point.
she said that she's about every inch of her body has been nipped, tucked, and pulled and stretched and whatever, and won't make any bones about it.
Yeah, I think Goldie Hawn is one who I was thinking of if we are talking about celebrities, who I think took it too far and started to have almost that kind of, I hate to use the word deformed, but that you look at him and it's like, it's just off. It's not right.
Fit. Right.
Who was the actress who played in When Harry Met Sally?
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan, I think, went a little too far too. I think I saw a picture of Andie MacDowell. I guess, is that her last name?
Yeah.
She seems to be allowing herself to age naturally, but doing just a little bit here and there to keep herself from looking like, I don't know, too old. So I think if you have a plastic surgeon who can allow you to have a little bit of movement still in your face and some, some movement and also some character lines. I mean, you don't want to be so, I really truly know women who are so stiff they can't even change their expression.
When they smile, you can't tell.
It's just really bad. But a plastic surgeon who can give you that youthful look, not too young because you're never but allow you still to look like you've been aging the way you should be aging. I think there's this creepy picture of this woman from the back, and she's got this long blonde hair, and she looks thin, from the back. And long blonde hair, and you turn around, and she's just wrinkled like old, like 80 years old, but with this long blonde. So that's what I'm saying is, as you age, certain looks become more appropriate for you and make you look almost better if you allow yourself to dress and wear makeup and, do the skin product and skincare and procedures or whatever you choose to do. Only just enough to where you're still your age, but you've got that beauty that you're going for, but not too much. So you know what I'm saying? It's right. like I know a woman who's in her 60s and she still dresses like her young daughter who's like 18. So, or in her 20s, whatever. And while the outfit is very cute, it's not working on her because it's not appropriate. And so I just think as you age too, you should also just consider what is age appropriate. I don't mean dress frumpy just because you're in your 70s.
Right.
I just mean wear something snazzy, but don't look at the 20-year-old in the magazine and put on what she's wearing, because you're going to look better, in my opinion. You're going to look better if you just dress classy and trendy and fun, but to your age. I think that makes you look almost younger versus trying harder and putting on that young outfit in an older body. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
If you want to see what we're talking about, go down to Miami Beach sometime and see some of the 70 and 80-year-old ladies in their mini skirts that are still trying to hold on to their youth.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a sight. I've seen it before. I've seen it. It's horrifying. But, another thing about, because we're kind of talking celebrities. Again, I am not an advocate of facial procedures or whatever, but I'm certainly not opposed. I think it's whatever you want to do. But I do think celebrities, it's their livelihood. You know, they have to ask themselves, am I going to be hired for that part if I look 70 something or whatever, or even, you know, whatever, 60? Do they need to address the aging process in a more serious, timely manner because of their jobs? I think so. I think that there have been some women celebrities out there who have let themselves age naturally. Glenn Close, I think, has. Who's the one?
Judi Dench is another one. Sophia Loren.
Right. And they all continue to get parts and stuff.
Yep.
Like, you know, but generally speaking, I would think that maybe, I mean, look at Nicole Kidman. I mean, she's got to be pushing 60, right? I would think. And she looks like she's 20 something. She's had work done, but I think that I'm totally fine with it because it probably has to just to stay in the business, right? I mean, it's different for them. That's their livelihood. That's their, you know.
Look at Mick Jagger.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He's looked like he was run over by a truck decades ago,
Yeah.
and the guy's going out on tour again in his 80s. He's in his 80s and he's going out on tour again.
Well, that's like Paul McCartney. Same thing. Paul McCartney, Joel, Billy Joel. You know, they all. But again, as you can see, men versus women.
Yeah.
You look at Cher. Cher is probably in her 70s and pushing 80. I don't even know, and she looks amazing. She's had work done. There's a woman. Paul McCartney hasn't had work done. I really do think that if you just draw the line down the middle of men versus women, it's going to be, I mean, I know that there are men, actually, I've seen billboards recently advertise male plastic surgery. Have you seen those billboards?
Yeah.
So I know it's a thing, and I know men go out there and get what they need to get too, but.
Well, a lot of it is wallet driven.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you got the funds and you want to do that to enhance and look younger, that's where some people will put their money, put their savings. You know, and
go ahead.
No, I was saying, you know, when we look to the entertainment industry as really the key for that, because these are people that are trying to hang on to their youth as long as they can.
Right.
And sometimes it works, and sometimes I always think about some of these actors and actresses that have gone out and had all this enhancement done, and then there's an audition for somebody to play a role in their 70s, and they thought, well I am 70, but I guess I don't look it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I always think of Clint Eastwood. I mean, that guy has been playing roles from Dirty Harry, and as he ages every decade, he just starts playing parts that are, you know, age specific and all, and he still does a great job. Robert De Niro, you know, and again, we're talking about the male actors as opposed to the female actors. Al Pacino is getting older, and he plays older roles really well. On the female side, I mentioned Judi Dench, Glenn Close, you mentioned earlier. And some of these actresses and everything are starting to get some incredible roles.
Who's the one that played in Devil Wears Prada?
Not Glenn Close. That was Meryl Streep.
Thank you, Meryl Streep. She's aging, I think, fairly naturally.
Yep.
But you know, so you talked about it's all about the wallet, and that's something else that, you know, I think that we deal with sometimes with aging is prejudice. Is it prejudice? How do you make it a? Prejudice? Whatever. Anyway, what I'm saying
prejudicial.
You know, I think we're prejudiced when we look at people and how they're aging. We judge, and I think, like you said, it costs money to make yourself look well kept. And I think, like, let's just say a job interview. I mean, I'm just speaking I'm making this up. It's hypothetical. But, you know, let's say a woman, because it's different than a man. But let's say you have a woman and she didn't have money for braces, and she doesn't color her hair, which costs a couple $100 a pop. She certainly doesn't have money for Botox and that sort of thing on your face. So she's wrinkly. So, you know, and then you have another woman who comes, and let's say they're both equally qualified, you know, in terms of skills. You got another woman comes in. She did have money for her braces. She does color her hair. She does, you know, she's looked younger than she really is, because of other things that she could afford to do. It's a little bit of discrimination comes into play, because they might just kind of like the appearance of one, you know, over the appearance of the other. So it is something that not everybody can afford to do. Now, I'm not saying you have to, that all expensive products, some people just have wonderfully good genetics and their skin is great, and they just use a bar of soap to wash their face and they look glowing, and, you know, and that's great. But if you don't, you know, and you can, so I think it's unfortunate too, the whole aging thing, because we do tend to look at, especially in our country, older people, it's almost like it's a bad thing to age. It's like, it's like you're not respected anymore. You're just getting older, and you're not, which in, like, you know, in China or, you know, Japan, they're older. They let themselves age, and they're revered as they get older. They're revered, and they're respected, and they're, you know, honored. And but not here. You know, you get older here, and it's like you're kind of like being kicked to the curb slowly. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know, I think that we put a higher emphasis on the physical aging than a lot of other societies do. Whereas the other side of the coin is your mental aging. And you brought up like the Chinese culture. As Chinese age, you know, they look older, but it's their mental capacity that they work on, and that's where you were talking about earlier about you know, using your brain, forcing your brain, exercising your brain to keep the mental aspect of aging intact, even though the physical part of it may start to dwindle away. You gotta weigh both of those. I mean, I probably would if I had money to invest in the aging process, I would probably be more interested in the mental aging process than the physical aging process. I mean,
Right.
I'm already good looking enough.
You are. You're one of those distinguished men that we're talking about. You know, honestly, though, it's funny because I think that's all very interesting. Because you have to go like this. You have to go.
Yeah, yeah. No, in my case, you go like this.
Right. You know, it's interesting though, because not only are we talking physical appearance through the aging process and trying to just, you know, tap into that fountain of youth, but also, like you said, the mental kind of state, like just. Sorry, cat fight behind me. Yeah, it's Emily's cat that causes it all the time.
Oh, but the younger one is going after the aging one.
Well, there you go. Exactly. But I actually, there are older people that I've talked to. I mean, not older, like I'm talking in their 80s and whatnot, and they're completely, totally fine and can carry on wonderful conversations, for goodness sakes. I mean, you know, but they don't feel that way. They don't feel accepted by society. They don't feel like the younger people want to even carry on a conversation with them. Like, what do they possibly have to say? But it's how I think we've been in society. It's kind of how we look at older people and how we've not, I don't know, as we all age, we are older and wiser. We do have more to share and say and contribute. But it's not looked at that way. And I've even heard an older person, I was sitting next to her. Oh my God.
I heard him in the background.
It's awful. It's really bad. I'm sorry. Could you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah, the younger one was probably telling the older one, he says, "But you're starting to look a little bit old."
Yeah, you're old.
Take offensive.
But wait, I totally lost my. Oh, she literally said, because somebody didn't sit by her or something, and she said, "Up, there you go. Nobody wants to sit by the old person," and she made a joke of it, but she said it, and it made me think, gosh, what a rotten way to feel, just because when you're getting older. And so I think a lot of it too is society's perception of how we have kind of defined aging. We're all trying to bucket so much that people are like, oh my gosh, we can't look old. We can't be old. I mean, why? Just get old, be old.
It's a given. It's a given. We're all on that road.
Right.
And that's why I say there comes the point where you can do so much for so long with the physical process. Then you got to concentrate on the mental process.
Absolutely. And I would say the mental thing would probably be more important.
I have a great example in my own family, because Lauren's mom is 100 and a half. She's approaching her 101st birthday, and mentally sharp as a tack, still reads the paper every day.
Doesn't she run the dining room? Doesn't she run the dining room down there?
Yeah, she's on committees and everything to make the dining room operate more efficiently.
I love that.
Yeah, she's on. She can carry on a great conversation. She also has got a tremendous mental recall. She remembers facts and figures from the past. The short-term memory maybe is going a little bit, but she's amazing with her long-term memory. She can remember finances, especially. She's really on top of her finance. Still does a lot of her own financial planning.
What's her secret?
She's been doing it long enough that it's a little bit easier to handle. In fact, she's more inclined to question when something doesn't happen than when it does happen.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, like, did she just always stay? Did she work?
Basically, she was a homemaker. Raised the three daughters, and she was active. My father-in-law was in the beauty business, and they did have a beauty school. But again, my father-in-law knew all the aspects of the beauty products and the beauty sales and everything. But my mother-in-law, when they had their beauty school, she was the financial person. She took care of all of the finances, and just as I say, continue to, because she forced herself to do it. Like I say, she doesn't sit and just watch the news every day. She has a physical newspaper and goes through it cover to cover every day.
Good for her. I love that.
And that's a mental exercise, to be able to read that paper and go page to page.
Absolutely. Well, good for her. Y'all must be planning a big celebration then coming up.
Yep. Well, we had a big celebration for her 100th, which she planned almost every aspect of it. And she probably will do it again this next February when she turns 101. But Lauren goes down to visit her every few months. But she is kind of that exception to the rule, because she lives in a retirement community, and so many of the people are just kind of sit on the couch and stare off into the distance because they're just biding their time. But my mother-in-law, she still stays as active as she possibly can. Sometimes it's painful, but she muddles through it. Still gets her hair done regularly. Still, likes to go out to eat.
Yep. I think that's true. If you have a choice and you don't have some medical reason why you can't, a lot of it is a choice. And like, if you go into a retirement community or an assisted living, even though some around you might be more sedentary than you, you have a choice. Like your mother-in-law, get up and get involved and stay busy and stay active and keep your mind going. And not only is that more fun and helps pass the days, but also keeps you going. And, so kudos to your mother-in-law, because I think a lot of people kind of do just fall into that. Well, I'm this old now. this is what I'm supposed to be doing. When really just do what your body tells you it can do, your body and mind.
Well, you either continue to move around, or you go out and you invest in a good rocking chair and sit out on the porch and do that. we sometimes sit out on on the porch in a rocking chair just for, a little relaxation, but some people do it by choice.
Yeah.
But
I don't like rocking chairs.
yeah.
They make me sick. They make me nauseous.
Really? Not
I
even
mean,
when you go to visit the place up in the mountains?
we don't. Well, are there any rocking chairs in the house? There are no rocking chairs in the house, but there are some on the porch. I mean, it depends on the rocking chair. I'm kind of I'm like getting off the subject here, but like how when pregnant women they get a rocking chair, rock the baby or whatever. You know how they started making those gliders?
Yeah.
The gliders is like a rocker and a glider. And those were really popular around the time when I was pregnant with my first back in 96. So like they've been around a long time, but they were really popular back then. Well, I thought for sure I have to get a glider, right? So I went and sat on a glider and I almost tossed my cookies. I was like, I'm not getting a glider. I ended up just getting a traditional rocking chair, which was okay. But no, it's the motion. I don't know. As I got older, it's the motion that got me.
It was the motion was better for the baby than it was for the mommy.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't. It was not. It was like on a boat. It was like that gliding. I don't know.
Well, I give for the same reason why you can't get me on a roller coaster for anything. There are some people that just love that stuff. I mean, my kids don't mind going on roller coasters or those things that spin around and go upside down and all.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't not for this guy. Put me in a little boat that goes around in circles and ding, 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 ding. That's about my speed.
or a bumper car.
Yeah, or get on one of those get on a big motorcycle that you put a quarter in. Yeah.
Oh, God. They used to have those did you and Lauren ever, well, it's closed just temporarily, but La Hacienda Ranch here in Frisco. You've been there, right?
Well,
gosh.
Used to have them when I was growing. Used to have them at the grocery stores.
Yeah.
And mom always had to put you in the pony or a motorcycle or something and drop a quarter in. And you sit there and and then you'd get off and go into the grocery store, go shopping.
Well, see, I'm glad that you remember that. See, your memory's still kicking.
I'm working on that.
Yep. Well, I don't know. It's an interesting topic for sure, and certainly something that it has a lot of parts to it. I do think it's interesting when you start to sit back and compare men versus women, celebrities versus non-celebrities, different parts of the world, different countries, kind of how they perceive age and their elderly, whatever. I think it's a whole real big topic. And and I think also it would be very interesting to talk to somebody who absolutely has chosen to not do a thing about their aging and why. Well,
and also I think that's where you need to bring the medical community in too, because before you start to do anything physically, make sure that medically it's in your best interests. Just like if you want to try and work on your mental capacities, go to a doctor and consult with them to find out what's the best way to do it. Maybe it is, like you said, buying a book of Sudoku and learning how to do it and crossword puzzles and challenging yourself that way, going on the computer and playing computer games. There are ways to do it, but ask questions and find out what's available out there.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. Well,
what we're going to make sure that we do our mental capacity, and that is to remember to be here again next week and join us again at the same time next Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock for another edition of Something to Talk About, because we'll both be here waiting for you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Day.
Go get the cats.
Really? I will.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mark, are you there? We're saying goodbye. Hello. Goodbye. Maybe he forgot about us. Maybe he fell asleep.
Maybe he fell asleep. Oh, what?